Protein explains everything you need to know. Today we are talking to Chi and we're going to be asking him all questions about protein, the ins and outs, why we need it, are we getting enough, and Chi's going to explain everything. Hi, I'm Jennifer West. Welcome to the MYOBAND channel. Today I am with Chi Chow. He is the founder of MYOBAND and he's going to be talking to us about protein because we need to know more about it. I want to know why we use it, we want to know what it's for. Chi, hopefully you can answer some questions for us today.
Yes, thank you, Jennifer. I'm Chi, the founder and innovations director for MYOBAND, and today we will talk around protein and answer as many questions as you've got for me.
Okay, first up, what is protein? What is it?
You know what? That's a really good question, Jen. And how I see protein is it's an essential macronutrient for us. So,
just to stop you there, for those who don't know, what is a macronutrient?
To think of it more kind of so I can relate to it is if you think we're kind of made of physical matter.
Okay.
So nutrients almost you can see plays part as like creating your skin, whatever, your fluids.
So macronutrients basically make up our body.
Yes, so macronutrients are the nutrients that we require to build who we are here when we're sat here. And without them, we wouldn't be sat here.
So how many macronutrients are there? What they're used for? Like, can you elaborate on them?
Yeah, well, protein is one of the macronutrients. And then you've got carbohydrates. And you've got fats. So as you got fibres. And then, so these are your key. A good place to start is always to kind of look at a nutrition table on, say, a food product. Because usually you'll see the top is the macronutrients within that product.
And protein has obviously macronutrients inside it, and we will have protein in our diet to make sure we're getting all those macronutrients.
Correct. So essentially, macronutrients are these, it's almost, you can say, the physical matter that build us. And that is what protein falls under, a macronutrient for us.
And then the reason why we'd have additional protein or ensure we're getting a good amount of protein in our diet is because we need it to function.
Correct.
Is that right?
So we need it to function and we need it to build, and so it is so essential, and without it, like I mentioned before, we just wouldn't be here. To 20 amino acids. So
we have 12 of them in our body already, don't we?
Correct. So we have an amino acid pool within us, and that consists of 12 amino acids. The other 8 we basically have to consume from external foods. So a good way to kind of put protein and amino acids, because I know amino acids thrown out in the market quite a lot, and people may necessarily know how that relates to protein. Well, protein is amino acids. And a good way that I usually try to explain it is with Lego. So, for example, imagine you've got 20 different coloured blocks.
We happen to have some right here. Should we have a little demo?
Yeah, so imagine, I mean, this is just for a kind of example. Just kind of a quick analogy of protein. Say you've got individual blocks here.
These are amino acids.
And so these are all amino acids, and each one's, like, say, a different colour, different shape. And what we can do is we build on the amino acids to create a protein. So you can imagine how many different structures that you can build with these amino acids. Just like with Lego, how many structures you can build.
So
you can build thousands. I mean, we can start building here. That looks completely different here. 2 blocks tall. Don't make a mess.
Don't break them.
So you can imagine, and then it gets so technical where you can actually then start crossing things. And so you can imagine how many different proteins can be built with these amino acids.
So the proteins, we have 20 in total.
We have 20 amino acids, so you've got 20 blocks. So for example, we've got 20 blocks, and then what you can do is as you build, you can then get different proteins.
So it changes the structure.
Exactly. So you can turn it into kind of what we say tertiary or binary. So it's all different types of proteins.
Has everybody got different almost types of proteins in their body based on what they're consuming?
Yes. So it's basically what their bodies build. So for example, like you look completely different to me. Your hair's different from my hair. It's all different protein structures. How we look. Correct. Amazing. Even down to cells, which are the small things in your body that function the body. So it really is a very...
So is the protein the building blocks of our DNA then as well, would you say?
The protein Not so much in terms of what we would say builds a DNA, because that's DNA is almost you can imagine it as a blueprint.
Yeah.
To how to build the house.
Yeah. Okay.
And then what you do then is you use a blueprint to then what we call transcribe.
Yeah.
And you can transcribe using different cells, which are built from proteins.
Okay, and then everyone looks different and everyone sounds different.
Yeah.
Everyone,
so, for example, like just, these proteins here that we've got are completely kind of different forms of protein, and that's where you get the link between amino acids and protein. So now you know what protein and amino acids, the relationship with each other are.
Very closely linked.
Yes.
And then protein, and having adequate amount of protein, how does that benefit somebody? Somebody who maybe doesn't work out and someone who does work out, because a lot of people take protein because they work out, but would someone who doesn't work out want to take protein? Like, how would it benefit everybody?
That's another great question, honestly, because with someone who doesn't work out, you would still require protein.
Because we know that we need, or we've got all those amino acids in our body. We get them from our food, and we need to get them from our food, and they affect the protein in our body. So it's all interlinked. So without working out, you'd almost think you need it even more.
So without working out, you do need it. You need it even more as you age. Yeah. So with protein, you do constantly need to refill what I call like your amino acid pool. Yeah. Which is like the bit blocks of inside you. And every day, you can imagine, say for example, every day a certain amount of red blood cells, they die off and they get recycled. They don't come back. Oh my God! And they get recycled. But then you need to produce these. Yeah. So what the body does, it pulls away these amino acids to build these cells and everything else so you can function correctly. Yeah. So in a way, even if you don't work out, protein is super important. It's key. It's very essential.
So as we get older, our body is less effective at renewing cells and repairing muscles and all those kind of things. And having higher levels of protein, or just adequate levels of protein, will just aid it to be able to do that.
Correct.
Better? Okay.
You can imagine. So you do need these type of proteins, like the different amino acids, should I say, within your body, is because you need the correct Lego pieces to create. So if you wanted to create a tower block of just purple blocks of Lego, then you would need all purple blocks. Yeah. And if you don't have these purple blocks, this function would stop. Okay. Yeah. Now, as you age, then that's if you don't take these proteins to replenish your amino acid pool, then you will slowly just start to deteriorate in certain parts of the functioning of your body. Yeah.
So the one thing I'm wondering about is I feel like in the last 10 years or so, branched chain amino acids, BCAAs, have really made a scene on the supplement market, and it seems to be up there alongside protein. But now obviously we know that protein gives us those branched chain amino acids that we need. It's got the building blocks for the body that we need. Do we need BCAAs? What's the difference? Explain it to everybody who's wondering, because I'm confused.
Yeah. So it's with BCAAs, it's basically makes up 3 amino acids. So it's 3 of the 20.
So we make 12 on our own.
Yes.
We get 8 from our.
So eight is basically you have to get from your essential kind of food, essential nutrients from outside of food. Yeah. So when we kind of explain what the proteins were, like the 20 different building blocks, BCAAs actually comprises of 3 of them. So it's isoleucine, leucine, and valine. So these 3. So in a way, really, you don't really need BCAAs if you've got a complete protein. So
if you're eating a good diet or varied diet with particularly protein source, a high protein food like fish, meat, cheese, pulses.
And I only say this because I'm not saying certain people don't need to take BCAAs, because BCAAs have a very important role in terms of the recovery side. But in general, kind of your sedentary, healthy person, usually the amino acids that they can get from the food or say a whey protein is more than sufficient.
So in here there's amino acids in the whey, and we get it and we have it naturally in our body, and then the rest that we kind of need would essentially be here or in our diets as well. So BCAAs don't really need to exist then, like as a separate entity on its own, as a drink or a shake or a pill. Don't really need it. Well, you need it, but maybe you don't need it in that form. Maybe you can just get it from your food or get it from a protein.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why it would be there is if you actually wanted to increase those particular amino acids.
Do you need to increase them?
Oh, well,
once you've got one of every one for each in 24-hour period, you need to increase how much you've got of each one.
And this is why it's quite a really good question. Like people saying, do I need BCAAs? And if you're taking a good quality source protein, it is sufficient for, say, this sedentary person.
Okay.
But it kind of changes things if in terms of there's so many other extraneous factors, such as your activity levels, your metabolism, like your base metabolism.
Some
like
people could metabolize it faster, so you might need a bit more.
Exactly, or there could be if you've got any clinical issues. Okay. So I'm not saying that BCAAs shouldn't have a place because they're so important.
Clearly it's important,
because
but you can also get it in your protein if it's a good quality protein particularly.
Correct. Yeah. So for example, like the Oblivion, there is actually BCAAs in that.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I thought that. Yeah.
And the reason why we do that is it's more to maximise recovery. So if you're working out and your activity levels are super high and you need to recover as fast as possible, then you need certain amino acids to really facilitate to make sure your recovery metabolism kicks in. Okay. So that's where your BCAAs. I bet you know all the names to every single one, don't you? I'm not going to test you. I'm going to stress you. But it is the fact that you're mentioning, the important BCAAs. I think we shouldn't forget the importance of the other 17 amino acids. Yeah. And that's why in terms of protein, there's so many different types of protein that give you all these different amino acids. Yeah. And this is why you get, so for example, this here is an 8x whey. Yeah. That's a different form of protein. This one's casein. Yeah. So it's hydrolyzed casein, another different form of protein. Then you got milk protein in the myobars. So and it's almost a lot of different types of protein that you can consume. Okay, so what about vegans? What would, like vegetarians and vegans, how would they ensure they're getting all their amino acids or getting all the proteins they need? Because, their diet is going to be essentially more limited. They can't get the meat source, cheese source, dairy sources. Yeah, so in terms of vegans, there are so many different types of vegan proteins out there. So, for example, here, I think we've got the vegan Oblivion. So the vegan Oblivion, that has hydrolyzed wheat. So but then, so it's like very similar, but that's casein and that's wheat. So but then obviously, if being a vegan just means you have to be a bit more planned and know a bit more aware, be mindful. Be a bit more mindful to where your protein sources can. And this is again comes back to really kind of having a diversified food source. Yeah, I can see that's. So you got like your nuts, your pea, your soy. So really making sure you're not eating the same thing every single day. Yes, yes, that's correct. So okay, and how would someone recognise what is a good quality product that's going to have everything in? Because before I worked with MYOBAND and before I knew how good these products were and what goes into them and the science behind it and the thought process behind it, I didn't know. I just assumed when somebody says protein online, okay, it's got protein, it's fine, it's good for me. I wouldn't have known that the ingredients might not have been great. Yeah. Or maybe the protein wasn't that great. Yeah, so I think there's two ways to look at it. The first one is the actual ingredients of a product. Yeah. And the second would be the manufacturing process and how you get a product. So, for example, what you want is the confidence when you're purchasing a product to, number one, be transparent and have the ingredients that's actually in there. Yeah. But on top of that, you really want the traceability of where your ingredients come from. So it's really kind of important that a company is confident and knows where the source of ingredients. Yeah. So, for example, if you were to ask, myself and say, where do we source the whey from? Where does this the whey from? You can all trace. There's traceability is all going away. So you can get it from either a European farm or a UK farm or Irish farm. So it's really that's one part, knowing that way the traceability of your ingredients. Yeah. Now the second part would be your manufacturing processes, which is very important. So what we do is make sure that when we manufacture, there's all these processes in place to ensure that there's no contaminants. So say
pure, high quality, nothing's getting
exactly
mixed.
yeah. So in a way, what you're looking for is if a company's got GMP, transparency, the quality assurance has to be there.
Yeah, and I wonder as well when you go like what websites and you're looking at protein.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe that isn't that obvious.
Yeah.
And maybe we should look at it more. It's ever something. Obviously, I'm not going to bother doing that now because I don't know where to get protein from.
It's true.
But there's a time before when I wouldn't have thought of any of that. I would just go, that's a good price. I'll get that one.
Yeah.
Rather than actually thinking about where it's come from. And actually, it's funny because we're putting it in our bodies. So wouldn't you like to know really exactly what you're putting in your body?
Yes, exactly.
And you know what's interesting as well is when people say, I've got friends whose children do activities like sports activities or gymnastics or rugby and they're at 10, 12 years old and the parents go, oh, you shouldn't give them protein drinks. I know this is maybe going off subject a little bit. Can children have protein? Or obviously they have it anyway in their food, but is it smart or is it safe to give a child a protein drink?
That's a very, very good question because
I've wondered this many times
because
before.
we have been asked this question quite a lot as well. And to be honest, with children's protein needs, they actually have quite a high protein
because they're growing.
Exactly.
So
however, it's always good to, again, make sure at that time of their life that they're exposed to as much different foods as possible.
Yeah, because ideally, you can get it from your food.
Yeah.
Like you say, and children that age, you don't want to put them off eating certain foods, so you want to encourage them to eat as much as possible.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's just one of those where if they're exposed to a lot of different foods, then it's always the best way to go.
Yeah, always.
But it's not to say, so for example, whey is actually a byproduct of the cheese making process.
Yeah, so it's funny people go, oh, you sugar, but actually it's...
But when you think about it, you think, then is whey a food supplement?
Yeah.
Or should I say a food source or a supplement?
Yeah, because it's so close. And also it's really funny, it's like parents might give the children Coca-Cola and like sweets with all these E numbers in, but they might freak out about giving them a protein shake.
Yes, which has come from cheese.
Yeah,
and milk.
yeah.
And so it's...
Okay.
I think in a way, like for example, my little boy, he drinks a whey shake.
Yeah.
And the main thing is not to overload them with too much protein.
And that's the same with anything in life. Too much of anything is not good for you.
Exactly.
It's balance, isn't it?
That's a perfect thing. And you know what? That's why I love when people talk about, whenever you talk about the science of food or whatever, it always comes back to, which is quite ironic, it always comes back to everything in moderation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same with everything in life, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Too much of a good thing.
So I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, thank you. Right then, okay, let's bust a myth, because I'm confused about this now. In the past, we've all heard that protein, if you have too much of it, your body just excretes it. And then you get guidelines saying that females should have this amount of protein per day and any more is going to be just, get rid of by your body. But if you train more, you should have more. What's going on with it? Like, I'm just so confused. There's so much information.
Yeah.
How much protein do we need? Like, does our training affect it? What type of training we're doing? Endurance training, strength training?
Yes, exactly. So I think you just literally reeled off quite a lot of...
Sorry, it's vomiting
at
you.
Yeah.
Tell me about protein, tell me more!
But I think it's really good because what you just mentioned is, I mean, the guidelines, whether it's from the NHS or the WHO, they do say it's 0.75 grams
which seems
per
really low.
kilogram body weight.
Yeah.
And
so 0.7 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight.
0.75. Yeah.
0.75 per kilogram of body weight. So I'm 70 odd kilograms, 71.
Yeah.
So that's like roughly around 50 grams of protein a day. I absolutely don't have 50 grams of protein a day. I have near to like 90 or 100. Yeah. So am I just pissing that out?
No. It's there's so many different factors, and you can imagine how difficult it is to try and give the mass a guidance on how much protein you need. So, for example, if you were to plot the population on a graph, naturally what you would get is a bell curve, because when we say bell curves, it looks like a bell. Yeah. And then you basically have the majority of people within the middle. So then in terms of when it's explaining a bell graph, you've got different exercises, you've got different weights, different metabolisms. There's just so many. God, it's just...
So there's obviously not one rule fits all. But if you're training more, surely you need more, because you're giving your body reasons. Your body's going to now have to spend energy recovering from a workout that someone else hasn't done. Correct. So surely that requires more.
Yeah. So what can be done is they can take, say, for example, a sedentary person and actually just base it on an average
And that's what they're...
And that's what they usually do. So in terms of protein requirements, it's really important for the individual to know really like how much protein is best for them.
So if someone works out, say 4 times a week, mixture of weight training and cardio, and they're a female, my height, kind of roughly how much protein would they need ish?
I mean, roughly.
Depending on the type of training they're doing. Obviously, without seeing them train, you don't really know how hard they're going or how heavy they're going or fast they're running or whatever.
Yeah, and this is why it's quite a back and forth of how much protein is required. But usually if your kind of activity levels, you say you're working out 3 times a week or... you naturally would up it from 0.75 to around about anywhere above the 1.2. Because really 1.2 over then is you're talking about the endurance kind of athletes then that don't need as much recovery but really more focused on the carbs. But then you then go on the more high intensity where the high intensity is like CrossFit or just like bodybuilding, powerlifters, anyone who are kind of breaking the muscle to
explosive and
explosive so anything like that, then you would then need a bit more, so then you may need 1.6, but I've heard people who've gone from 1.6 up to 3 grams
per
kilogram. That now again, this is very
depends on your height, depends on your weight.
Again, you see, exactly, so it's very difficult to say whether it's correct or it's incorrect. It's because with everyone being so different, it is a very difficult question to answer. I think I wouldn't worry about the bottom side. I would, in terms of like, should it be 0.75 or should it be 1.2? I think I would rather aim a bit further out. So if you're taking, say, 1.5, I would rather that be my goal rather than be deficient.
So you'd rather have more than you need than not have enough.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then if we do have more than we need, what happens to it? Is it excreted?
Well, there's different ways that it's used. It can be used for energy. It can be excreted.
Because your body obviously will choose carbohydrate if it's the main source of energy.
Yes.
But excess protein, will it go, oh, I could use that, and then will it convert it into the muscle and store it?
Yeah. So it will. Some will be stored, like in terms of the amino acid pool we talked about. Some will be excreted. Some will be used for energy, like I've just mentioned before. So I think it's always good to have a little bit over rather than a little bit less. Overconsumption of protein can happen, especially in one sitting. Currently, there's no studies to say that it damages people's kidney from a clinical. But obviously, if you were to go on like the very top scale, if you 3 grams per kilogram of your weight, then really, if you haven't got the physical capabilities to take that type of protein intake, then it's just wasted.
I guess just like anything, like if you have too much chocolate in one go, you're not going to feel great. If you have too much wine in one go, you're not going to feel great, or whatever. So it's like, again, comes back to that moderation.
It comes back to moderation again, So
it's not, I say, dangerous to have too much protein. So if someone had like 300 grams a day, which sounds like, obviously it's quite a lot, but it's a lot. Would that be dangerous to somebody's body? There's no studies to show that.
It depends on how heavy the person is. Depends on how tall.
I get it. Okay.
But in a way, so for example, like yourself, Jenny, if you were taking 300 grams a day, then that is excessive.
And my body's probably not even need. Obviously, clearly doesn't need it.
It doesn't need it.
So it's going to be just excreting.
Yeah, because in a way, even though there's no studies to say that there's any kind of real damage, but it does put stress on your kidneys, on your liver.
It's got a lot. It's to process it all, and that's a lot to process.
Yes, correct, yes.
Okay, to finish up, what is the future of protein going to look like? How is everybody going to be consuming their protein? Where's the best place to get it from? Vegans, vegetarians, how can we get it? For like the oblivion, like what is this, a shake, a drink? Like what's explain the future of protein?
It's protein has come a very long way. So you can imagine, back in the just after the war times, and then it's always just been like still the kind of staple foods and limited. So we've actually come a very long way in terms of food technology. Now you remember kind of like in I think it was the 80s when you kind of like see the Rocky film when they were drinking like raw eggs.
Yes.
And then from the
blended
eggs,
a chicken breast in it.
Exactly. And then that's where you kind of got the evolution from eggs to then like egg powder. And then egg powder, then it moved on to kind of your shakes, which has dominated quite a a few decades.
Protein shakes, when did they come into the market? The 80s?
No, I think protein shakes came in. No, I think it must have been the late 80s.
Yeah.
But I would have to read up on that, so don't take me up for that.
Okay, don't quote it.
Don't quote
but relatively new in terms of food.
Yeah, but I mean, we say new, but they've been around for 30 years, plus 30 plus years.
Yeah.
So I think in a way where we're heading, it's going to be a very blurred line between convenience food and protein all mixed in one, and same with all the other supplements that you see.
I feel like it's definitely for everybody, protein supplements, and I think that years ago people thought you had protein drinks because you're a bodybuilder or whatever, and now it's like, no, actually we all need it, whether you're training or not, and it doesn't have to be in a chalky, thick, heavy shake. You can get it in a juice as well. So there's lots more choice now than used to be.
And we are coming to the point where you just cross paths of like, say, food and supplements. So, for example, do you call protein bars chocolate bars, or do you call them?
Do you know what?
Protein?
If I'm sitting in the car driving and I'm stuck in traffic and I've got a protein bar in my hand, I always imagine someone's looking at me going, look at that woman just eating a chocolate bar in a car. And I'm like, no, it's a protein bar. It's got protein. It's good for me.
Yeah. So to be honest, for the futures, it's super exciting.
It is exciting because that is very satisfying and it tastes chocolatey. Like it's a great substitute for chocolate, except our body can benefit from it.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's nice to think that people have got these alternatives to things they want to have, like a milkshake or orange juice or chocolate, and you can get it all in alternatives that are going to benefit you.
I mean, for me to kind of finish off your question to where I see protein in the future is, wouldn't it be nice? I mean, apart from obviously eating food as a enjoyment and kind of indulging food, I would say it would be almost like a pill. Yeah. So you could just say, take a pill, and then it just has everything in it. That's what I say, obviously, in the sci-fi future. But yes, I think we're going very much tailored kind of convenience nutrition.
Okay, that concludes the video. Thank you everybody so much for watching, if you've made it to the end. Chi, I think this one has been quite a lot about Oblivion. So I'm thinking a giveaway would be quite nice for everybody.
Sure, yeah.
So maybe an Oblivion for everybody. If you hit subscribe, you could be in for a chance to win a tub of Oblivion. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, like the video, and comment on any other videos you want us to do. And also, if you have any questions, do let us know, because with us being a science-driven company, we would love to hear your questions. And I guess it's always the way we want to search for the questions of why, and we want to answer it. And no one can ever do it alone. So your questions will help us immensely. Yeah, that's how we grow, isn't it? Yeah, like, exactly. We want to give. It's like MYOBAND want to give what everybody wants. We just need to know what you want. You got to get your questions down below. Great. Yeah. So thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.